Hi, welcome to She Said, She Prayed. I'm your host, Diamond.
And I'm Candi.
Today, we are discussing rediscovering who I am beyond being a wife and a mom.
Yes. You want to do a little check-in
All
before
right.
we dive
I'm here
in?
for a check-in.
You think of the check-in today.
No, I want you to go first.
Uh,
I always go first.
I do the check-ins.
You're right.
You know what? I do always like, what's something that made you smile?
I'm here for it.
You know, why not start off with a smile? You want me to go first in answering?
I was like, yeah, still your turn.
I thought she just was like, I want you to ask me the question. Okay, I got you.
Your turn.
What's something that made me smile?
Did you want some water?
I got my tea. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. Oh, you know what's something that made me smile? Listen, can we get an applause for the hat, y'all? The hat by yours truly.
I mean.
She brought this in and I was like, those are cute.
Yeah.
Those are cute, friend. And it made me smile. Like, I love everything about it. Let me know what y'all like. Like, let me know your thoughts on that.
Listen, it's furry too.
It's furry.
It's cute.
I like it. I love a furry hat. I love a furry like hat like that style. I like the bucket hats. But she went in and created the style. That made me smile because she let me borrow it too.
Shout out to that design degree I paid for and
Amen.
don't use.
Amen to that. Yes.
Anymore, in fairness.
Yeah.
In fairness. Anymore.
Yeah. But it paid
but
off
that's
because
good.
you have a friend that could get you together and make these pretty hats and stuff. So that made me smile. Your turn.
I'm here for a good hat. I am. I'm here for a good hat.
Yes.
What was my high? I think my high is I get to see. When we leave here today, I get to see one of my good friends who it's another friend that we don't talk all the time.
Yeah.
Or even like super often, but when we do, it's like it's a link up.
Okay.
And
link up.
So I
like that.
That makes me smile. Like just knowing that we get to go catch up and see what's going on in her life. So
I can't wait to hear all about it. I'm gonna be nosy. I'm gonna be like, what y'all do?
Listen. Girl time.
Girl time. That's good. I love that.
But what was your low? Because that's usually
we doing highs and lows? Okay, I did make you smile.
Okay, so what made you frown? That's what I do with my kids.
Ooh, what made me frown? Or what made me frown? Ooh, coming into LA. Okay, LA people, tell me, when did they get this? I haven't flown into this airport for a while. And when I did, I was going to a hotel close by, so I had a shuttle. You have to take this shuttle to a whole different, it seems like a whole different city, to be honest with you, to get an Uber.
They were doing construction at LAX forever.
They're still doing it. That's what I ran into yesterday. Yeah. So that made me frown because I was like, my hotel is like 15 minutes away. I'm going to be able to go to sleep because I got in a little late. I felt like I took a whole nother trip. What's with that, LA? Or our LA people? Give me your thoughts because I thought Atlanta was bad, but that's bad.
I think because it's so busy, they just needed more space. And then when Ubers became a thing, it would block all the traffic for like pickup people.
Yeah.
So I get it, but it is annoying. My frown is that I miss my baby. I'm not used to like really being away from them.
I know.
And then when I called them, they just didn't seem. They didn't seem like they were stunting me. Like that they had any qualms about. And usually,
grandma, right? It's
yes, but usually at least my toddler is like, but mommy, I miss you so much.
They be acting funny over the phone.
Or rediscovering who I am beyond being a wife or a mom.
Come through topic. I mean, come through. Wow. Wife, who are we outside of that? So, question. Have you ever felt like parts of you?
Yeah, she always asking me questions.
I do, because I be wanting to know.
Like, is it just me? That's really the
question. Oh, just kidding. But no, because I be wanting you be providing some good insight. Sometimes there are things that I didn't think about. Like when we
I
were
get
fasting,
no,
how many times did I tell you I was like, "You read that scripture like that? I didn't get that saying."
yeah.
So I ask
I do
questions
love
for a
that.
reason. I be asking y'all questions too. So,
Yeah. 'Cause
uh,
you get different
you give
perspectives
different
when people have
perspectives.
different lived experiences.
Yeah, and
I
I'll
love
be
it.
into that. So, have you ever felt like parts of who you are were disappeared after becoming a wife or mom? Or both?
I'm
I
like,
mean,
have I
both,
ever
wife, mom, all of it.
when did I stop?
Yeah.
I do it every day.
Okay.
I do it every day, and I'm looking at the camera directly because I'm like, y'all probably do it every day too. Or maybe I'm being conceited in believing that we are all on the same journey. Like, I don't think this is foreign to
Yeah,
just the two of us.
absolutely
Um,
not.
so I think I mean, we've, Candy and I have talked about this even beyond She Said She Prayed. We were just fasting and walking through some of the scriptures that we read while we were fasting. And a big part of it was like, Lord, what is my purpose? And maybe not
Big
even
part
like
of it.
life's purpose. What is my purpose in this season?
That's right.
And I think that in doing that, we were like, okay, well, this takes me away from my focus being motherhood. This takes
Motherhood,
me
family.
away because right now, and I don't know if you guys know, I'm a part of a church plant, which requires a lot of attention because it's mobile. So there's tear down, there's setup, we went from one service to two services in like 1 week because launch
A lot.
Sunday, I believe, had like 1,100 people when we only had seats for like comfortably like 375.
That's amazing, though. Can
Um,
we take a minute to
list
God's people coming out? That is
shout out
amazing.
Sovereign City and
Yes.
Pastor Ricky and Rosie,
Yes. I love it.
who we love. And it's a beautiful thing, but it requires energy that I didn't know I had to give, to be honest. So when we're saying like, Lord, where are you calling me? I am very certain in this season that the Lord is calling me to serve in ministry right now. I am sure that the Lord is calling us to do this podcast and to relate to other women who are walking out life in the Bible right now. And in that, I am doing a lot of seeking God and being like, what does this look like? Real question is sometimes even like, why me?
This is my assignment. Why did you choose me for this assignment?
Why me? And not even negatively, to be
Yeah,
honest.
just
It's just like, Lord, okay, if you're calling me to this, why? Like, why do you want me here? Why it can't be Candy here? Why it
yeah.
can't be, my other friend over there? Like, what have you put in me that makes me uniquely special for this job or this task? So I don't
Yeah,
know.
baby. God's
Those are
probably
my
like, if not you, then who? Like
yeah,
he,
those are
but
my first thoughts.
that's yeah. I love that. I like so where I'm also in a season where I feel ready. I feel called. Where other seasons I felt ready to just be that mom and wife and
Mhm.
take care of my family and make sure things are in order. The question: have you ever felt like parts of you were like disappeared?
Oh, did I skip
Absolutely.
that?
I mean,
I
you
don't
kind
think
of
I answered it for real.
I mean, I think you went and answered the main topic, which is
Okay,
good. But
got it.
we gonna go back to
We gonna
you.
circle
We
back.
gonna do. But that small part, absolutely.
Where you felt
Like
like your
parts of
calling
me,
disappeared?
yes,
Yeah.
like not just disappeared, like buried. And it's not necessary. I wasn't saying like I was like, oh, what am I doing? Because I was wrapped up in other things and other people. Naturally, I am a caretaker.
Yeah.
Like I get joy from it. I get joy from making sure my kid is good, healthy, happy. I feel like this little human being, I'm instilling these values that he's gonna take for life. I love that. Do not get me wrong. Being a mom, thumbs up for me. Being a wife, I love it. I have a partner who pours into me just as much as I pour into him.
Mhm.
So when I was in those seasons of doing those things, which I'm still in that season, that doesn't stop,
Mhm.
but just doing those things, I definitely lost myself in
Yeah,
it. Like
absolutely.
part of me have disappeared. I will say the
Let go.
motivation for me to just me, what I wanted kind of left because I want to make sure everyone's good. As I spoke before, my husband plays baseball. Baseball, they play 162 games a year.
Oh.
They are on the road like every week, like
Mhm.
almost. And My husband's very family oriented. He loves to be around his family, and then when he's not, he's like, "I miss you guys." So, but then on the other side, I have a child who is creating his own life because now he's at the age where he knows his likes.
And you
He
can't
likes
just
to play
pick up
baseball.
and leave like you
Can't just
used
pick up
to
and leave.
either.
Stability is important to me in a certain way where I do believe like going out and experiencing life is a good thing, but also home is home. I love home. I created a home where my husband likes, my son likes, I like. You've told me before, like, I want a home or I have a home. I want my kids to want to come back home.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's really
That's
important to
where
me.
we're at.
Yeah.
And so I love cooking. I love being this homemaker. I loved it. Do I feel like that's the only thing God called me to be? No, because I have all of these like I could sit there and I can think of a business idea like this. I feel
Yeah.
like I am very business savvy. I feel like I'm outspoken. I'm likable. I feel like so I have all these traits that
I mean, I
God
like
gave
you.
me. Thank you. I like you too. But I feel like God gave me all of these things. Why wouldn't I use it? Or
Right.
why would I allow that to disappear just because I am also loving being the mother and the wife, but that's not all I am. But to answer the question, do I feel like certain things have disappeared? Yes. What has disappeared? I mentioned motivation, like to do my own stuff.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like, I could just help everybody else with their stuff. Why I need that on my own?
I've definitely been in that season where it
Yeah.
was just like, I'm okay.
I'm
I'm
good.
okay. It's
I'm
fine. Like
happy.
I can do your thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like you guys have experienced that too. I feel like when I talk to other moms like you or other friends that I have who have kids,
Yeah.
younger kids, school age kids, whatever, that we go through ebbs and flows of that. Like I do think I have a friend with a infant right now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Is it wrong that I just kind of want to be a wife and a mom?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "No." And then 9 months later, she's like, "Well, I got accepted into nursing school and I really love that." And I think sometimes spaces like this
Mm-hmm.
are exactly what we need to give ourselves permission. And on one of our other episodes in a different series, we were talking about it being okay to change our mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I think in motherhood, a lot of times it feels like, and I'm not sure why, but it feels like it's all or nothing. And I think it's more realistic to say it's season to season.
It's season to
What do you?
season. We have our kids for, I mean, for a while, but honestly, it is a small window.
When you think about a
When
lifetime.
you think about a lifetime, it's a small window where you come home and your kid's chilling on the couch playing those video
Yeah.
games. I think we hold on to that like we want to be there. Also, I can go for like my childhood, I had a mom who was a stay-at-home mom, and I loved it. She brought me lunch every day to school, but I can remember being like, my mom could be there.
Yeah.
And I know that everybody's not in that
Right.
season, but I think where it's like, we're like, okay, we're in the season of being just a mom and we're okay with that is because we know that that season of being mom where they're close by goes by really fast.
I mean, because even my oldest is 8. I'm like, how old are you, kid?
How old?
My oldest is 8, and how that's still my baby. But it's just different where he used to be like mama's baby.
Mhm.
Now he's like, so what does dad think about that? And part of me is really heartbroken. I'm like, it was mama, mama, mama. Daddy would say something, and he's like, I'm gonna go see what mom. Like, I hear you, dad, but mom. And there is a part of me that is heartbroken, but then the other part of me loves it because I didn't. My dad passed when I was little, and I had a younger brother who I didn't get to see, who didn't get that. So I love that because he can't learn to be a man for me.
No,
As much as I, can support him and
you
try.
cannot teach. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think I look at that and I'm grateful that he has it. But then the mom in me who has desires to do other things, the mom in me who in this season God is calling to do other things is like, but I already feel like
it's
I'm losing so much
losing.
time
You're
with
losing.
him. And
Yeah.
then now, Lord, you're really calling me. You're expecting me. You're pulling me to do other things.
Yeah. And so in that season, when you're like that, like, as we talk about having our own like intimacy with God, and we talk, have you ever been like, okay, God's like, all right, I'm calling you to go do this project, and you know that project looks heavy, like
Yeah.
time wise, just energy wise, and all of this. And then you look at your schedule and your kids and your husband, and you're like, how does this
I gotta do
even
this.
fit? Like, God, how are you calling me to do this when my kids have, you told me your kid was like in 4 different sports at
Girl,
one
you should have
time.
saw in December, he was playing, going to school Monday through Friday. He was playing football 3 days a week and then or football practice 3 days a week, had a game on Saturday, which was the fourth day. He had basketball 2 days a week. And then after each of those, he did boxing 3 days a week. So this was like
And
every three different activities,
yeah.
plus school, plus homework, plus projects.
And then
And then
God's
I have
like
another
church
kid.
plant, podcast, design, like resume. And so when God was like, do
Honestly,
all of that, what did you
the
ask God?
podcast was an interesting one. We were fasting, which we talk about over and over again in other episodes. We were fasting, and then the podcast came from that, like our check-ins from that. But interestingly enough, I don't know if you knew this, maybe a month before that, I was invited to a girls' night with some ladies from church that
Okay.
I wasn't even planning on going to. Not for nothing. I just was busy.
Yeah.
And the Lord just kept telling me I needed to be there.
Mm.
One of the conversations that we had was me feeling like the Lord is calling me to do something else, but I enjoy the space of, I was like, I just keep telling myself, it's okay. It's okay for me to just be a mom. I don't need anything else. And then we go into the season of fasting and the podcast come up. So what I say is, in a prayer, I think in those seasons where things are so busy, you pray about it, but then you wait for the Lord to answer.
Yeah.
Because I think we talked about, she said she prayed, and both of us were really concerned about finding time. I think when you wait for God to answer, He makes provisions. Like, God, if God's calling us to do this,
way it's already worked out.
and I think
Yeah.
so often, we did a couple of test runs of the podcast, and one of the things we brought up in talking about this subject was just that so often we look for God to be a drive-through God, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I prayed about it and I didn't get an answer that
Yeah.
I already wanted to pick up in the first place, opposed to praying about it and waiting for God to make provisions.
Exactly. And that's why when we did the fast, the first thing I said, we did the fast, like she said, we mentioned it a lot. We did a fast. And I told her that God has called me to be still.
Mhm.
Because when things don't work out right away, for me, I have a habit of being like, it's not God. It's not God. So in that season, I prayed before we did the fast, and I was like, God, what am I doing this fast for? Like, what am I doing it for? What are you trying to tell me? And that was what he was like, be still. Be still. And when I tell you, those who fast not or haven't tried it, I really do encourage it, because I opened up my mind. Like, looking back, I'm like, my mind was so fogged,
Clouded.
and it cleared up my mind till I was able to see the projects that he was bringing into my life so clearly. And I was able to see it with a peace. Like, my mind was at peace. It wasn't chaos involved with it.
Yeah.
Where a lot of things that I want to do, because I want to do it all, like multiple streams of income come on, but it be seeming like chaos. And not saying that it's not God, but I'm like, chaos. All right, maybe no. Instead of waiting and
But I
praying
think
about
it
it.
feels like chaos. Not that the ideas aren't God. I
Right.
think it feels like chaos when, and you can let me know, and you guys can let me know if you agree with this, because I'm living this. I'm not like a guru, or, like we're people having a conversation. But I think it feels like God when we are dependent upon ourselves to figure it out.
I got this. I'm in control.
Or
I'm gonna
how
do
am
this.
I going to make this work? How am I going to fit this in my schedule? Opposed to, here is all the things, Lord. Let me give it to you. Let me present it to you. you figure it out. To be
Surrender.
honest, because I am guilty, pot calling kettle audience friend black, because I am so guilty of being overwhelmed and stressed out for situations that I have caused myself. Where I'm like, I did this. I put this kid in 4 sports and knew I had a church set up, church share down. I knew this.
Yes.
And I decided, and in none of this did I stop and say, hey, Lord, do you want him playing doing these activities right now? Or is this a season where I'm supposed to just be connecting with? I don't want him to miss out on anything.
I can afford these opportunities. Why would I take advantage of it? And guilty too.
If you're listening, we raising our hands and pointing to ourselves.
Instead of being like, God. Like, so I am guilty of that. And that is actually what I'm working on so much, is being able to stop in the moment and just ask God. Recently, I came up with and I shared with you a business idea that I had it. And I was ready, and I'm still ready. And it's still laid on my heart, don't get me wrong, but I was ready to find a store space for it. And I called you and I was like, I found the perfect
And I love
spot.
the idea.
I found it. And I was like, okay, but I'm going to stop and wait and see if this is what God is calling me to do. And also being okay with the not having the answer. I've never been okay with that part.
I'm big on that though, because I am big on asking for an answer and not being okay with the answer.
No, can you tell me, please? I'm ready. And did you say no? I think maybe you said yes, but it was.
Can you tell me, and can you tell me what I want to hear?
Yeah, I always tell God, I was like, you got to make it clear as day to me. No answer means I'm going to answer.
Right.
No answer, I'm going to answer for myself.
How often do we do that? How often are we like, well, God didn't give me an answer, so it must be yes.
Ooh.
So we affirm our own bad decision, and then we get mad when it doesn't work out.
But God, I mean, you didn't give me a no. Why isn't this not working out? Because it wasn't God. We got to be patient.
But I also think it's important to say sometimes it is God and it doesn't work out.
But it's not the time.
But that's not right. Because I've been there too, where I'm like, okay, Lord, I know you told me this.
Yeah.
And the Lord's like, but did I tell you in that season? Did I tell you right now? Did I tell you? Because it makes me think about David. Yes. He was prophesied to that he would be king when he was young. Again, welcome to my world where I read the Bible, so I know the stories, but I can't quote the exact scripture, date, and time. I know the word and I love history, so that's the part that I really love. But I say that to say, David was young when he was prophesied to that he would be king, and he had to wait seasons. He had to go in and serve under Saul, the king, who literally just turned on him.
Yes.
And it was just and he was not allowed to, he was still expected to wait for God's timing. He was still expected to be obedient, and in serving, he was expected to do it graciously and with a good heart. And I don't know. I can't say, as we're talking about rediscovering who we are beyond being a mom, I can say for myself, and I think you guys could say the same thing, that I don't know if while we're in waiting of figuring out who we are and who God is calling us to be, if we do that graciously and with a good heart and in a serving, serving from love and serving from I am where God has me when I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah. I can speak for myself.
She's like, I don't need y'all to speak for me.
I am openly speaking that no, I don't. I am sometimes, or a lot of times, I got it under control. And God, I'm going to include you when I want to include you. I'm going to bring you in when I want to bring you in. It is not always in the beginning. It is usually in the end when
at crunch time.
And I'm like, okay, God, please. I'm firm on seeking answers and going to my word and fasting. And I have an amazing, intimate relationship with God. But there are times when
a lot of them.
It's kind of like your kids. Or we even us. I know my mom will be like, oh, now you want to share that with, like, I will go and make a purchase, say like a car or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't bring, well, when I was younger, when I should, like, I didn't bring my mom in every step when I probably should have, because how
Mhm.
many cars have she bought?
She might know some
She
things that
knows
you don't know.
something, but big girl over here who got it
I got
under
it.
control, I got it. And then after the deal is done, I'm asking you the questions like, so when am I supposed to get an oil change? How much is the oil change? And I think we
She's
do
like,
that
"You
with
got
God.
it. Figure
Yeah,
it
you
out."
got it. You
You're
figured
right.
it out. And I think we do that with
You're right.
God. We decide what we want to include, the timing, and when we
Mhm.
want to include him. Because I think we're afraid, or I can speak for myself. Sometimes I'm afraid of that no, because I want it so badly.
Mhm.
So if I go to God in the beginning, there is a chance that he's like, that's not for you,
Mhm.
my child.
No, I
But
hear
I
you.
want it.
It actually is so triggering because when you just said, "I think I'm afraid of that no," it reminds me of I was 16 and I was living with my grandma out of state, and my best friend and I decided we wanted belly button rings.
Mm,
And I never asked
yeah,
because I had already decided I was getting
that's
one.
what you were getting.
And I was like, I'm not gonna ask because if she say no, then like
Yeah.
not that it was right that I didn't ask, but in my rhetoric, that my messed up rhetoric that I told myself was like, well, I'm not going to ask her and let her say no. And then, like, how disrespectful is that?
Yeah.
Even though it's just as disrespectful to go behind her back, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, it
You
just felt
knew
ultra
that.
rude.
Right.
And when you were like me making my big girl decisions and deciding because I was afraid of the no, like I never even went to her.
Yeah.
I just went and got it. And I got,
Right.
yeah,
You're
it
mine.
reminds me, and I'm like, you're right. We really do that to God, where we're like, I have decided, so
Right.
I'm gonna do what I want to do, and then if it falls apart, I'm going to call you. I'm going to lean on you. So it's that time
It's the
again where we're going to
time.
ask a couple questions
Yeah.
so that you can learn a little bit about us. And I think I'm going to. Okay, these are harder ones
Oh, wait, when you
today
go like this, I'm scared. Wait.
because it's off the top of my head and
Oh,
not from our notes.
okay,
That is,
got you.
I'm like, oh, I
She's gonna
remember.
watch this be such a
No, it is. Can you like actively remember the first time or one of the most impactful times that you depended on God? Where you were like, yes, God is real because I depended on him. And like, it's almost like your testimony. So I
oh,
know it's tough.
oh,
But
because there's
we
so
can't have
many
she said she prayed
times.
about faith and walking out
Yeah.
real life, and then we don't explain like why we believe this, why it's so important to
Yeah, no, and I
us.
agree. It's actually a really good question, but what I'm torn is, like, there's so many situations. I got so many testimonies.
When I said it, what was the very first thing that you were like, "Yep." Like I know something popped in your head
Yeah.
and you were like, "That's it."
Well, you know what really popped in my head is what's going on right now. So God is, I'm in a new, and y'all probably heard me say this before, I'm in a new phase of motherhood that
Mm.
I realized that I don't have figured out. So 1 through 11, I had it. I thought I was like, motherhood is so easy. Like, I haven't figured out.
These people
My
say it's so
kid
hard.
is like, everyone tells me how great my kid
Mhm.
is, which he is, and this and that. I had it all figured out.
Mhm.
And now I'm in a new season of my life. He's 13. I don't know
Yeah.
anything. I feel like everything I thought I knew, I don't know. And you have no idea. I go to God every single day and I'm like, God, I need you to either give me the strength or you go straight to him yourself.
Please go
No,
to him and
to
leave me
be
out of it.
honest, I need you to help me raise my child right now, because right now I'm clueless. I am clueless in motherhood right now when I felt like
Aw.
I have it figured out.
Mhm.
Well, I'm being tested right now,
Mhm.
and I know that there's already a testimony forming because God is giving me different ways and different levels of patience. He's already creating that for me. He's actually speaking through me on how to get through or how to communicate, because where I'm at is like I don't know how to communicate anymore.
Mhm.
Like, because where his mind is
'Cause he's
different
in a
than what
different
he's in a
space.
different space,
Mhm.
and it's a space that I don't know how to
Mhm.
communicate. So I'm going to God, and God is actually giving me sometimes when I'm like, I have no strength to deal with this situation, God is literally pulling me. And sometimes I feel like I'm not even talking. Like my son will be like, "This is what you said." I'm like, "Oh, I said that? I didn't know." He's literally pulling
Putting
me up
words
and
in your mouth.
like he's giving me a different strength that I didn't know I had. And by that is you have to like I need to have strength in that area where there's sometimes I'm like, fine, go whatever.
Yeah.
But I want him to be this man like that God called him to be. I can't give up on this.
Mhm.
And God is literally every day giving me a different strength, giving me a um different ways to communicate. And so God is really pulling me through and telling me or and giving me the strength and something I thought I had figured out, and now I'm like, I'm clueless. And I'm only able to find the strength to be consistent in raising this young man because of God.
Wow. I love that.
Thank you. What about you, friend? What I don't have the question on hand, but
Yeah,
you
it's like I was trying to think about it as you were talking. One of the just one of the times, I guess, where I was just like, okay, God is real. This thing is real. One of the times is literally the season that I'm in right now. Also, I guess that's one that stands out is with the church plant that we're a part of. I don't know how churchy y'all are, but like the Lord is here and is it runs deep. So God deals with me through dreams. I have always dreamed. I haven't always understood them, or they are not always clear. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. And one moment, and I say this story because I've experienced many of these moments over my life, and that's kind of one of the reasons why you can't tell me God is not real.
right.
I have been praying about, Lord, show me my purpose, give me my, like, what is my purpose in this season? And I had a dream about someone setting up chairs. And did I tell you this?
I feel like you
Maybe.
did, but
Okay.
I
So I
might be
had a
wrong.
dream about someone setting up chairs, and I am leaving a building. I see this someone setting up chairs, and it looks like they need help. And honestly, I remember being a little like inconvenienced feeling in the dream. I remember checking my watch, like, oh, but then looking and being like, "Ugh, but they need some help."
Yeah.
And I went and I asked the woman if she needed help, half expecting her or half hoping that she would say no. She's like, yes, like actually. And I'm like, dang. Because how often do we really
We
do that?
really
Where it's
be
just
doing
you,
that, like,
like,
"Okay,
I'm,
you need help?"
yeah, I
You
could
say
help, I
yes?
would help, but like, please say no.
Yes,
And
yes, we all do it.
that was where I was at. And it's really funny once I tell you the story because that's kind of how I entered the situation. So, anyways, I help her set up chairs. I go sit in the front row. She stands on a podium. I wake up and I realize that dream meant God was calling me to help in a ministry.
Yeah,
I was not sure what that looked like, what that meant at the time. Fast forward 6, 8 months later, we visit this church. They mention a church plant that they are training a couple to start their own church. And instantly, my husband and I knew we were supposed to be a part of it. To make the story a little bit shorter, a couple months down the line, we are walking out of church service, and I see this woman who is the pastor of the church plant's wife. She walks out of a service with him, and I look at my husband dead in the face, and I'm like, that is her. That is the woman from my dream a summer ago
wow.
who I was helping set up chairs. So
Oh,
I say that.
wow. Give me chills.
So for me, I'm just like, it's hard for me. I've had so many situations like that. That is
Yeah.
one example. So when you hear me talking about serving and helping the church plant, it is because I truly feel called.
God called,
Um,
like, literally called, gave her the
yeah,
vision
so I get
to
to
a T.
see in a lot of ways, a lot of times I get to visually see, I get clear conversations and directions.
Yeah.
So that's why
I
I believe
love
in God,
that. I
and I
love
can't deny
that.
it because it's
It's so
I've been
real.
so lucky and so blessed to see it so clearly.
That's so real, and I've had testimonies like that as well, and I think God shows up in all type
Mhm.
of ways. I don't know, have you ever seen, like, a crash on the side of the road and, like, you were there, like, 2 seconds ago or
Mhm.
something like that? Like, those are things people don't realize, but sometimes, like, testimonies are, like, maybe it's not directly affecting
It
you,
wasn't
sometimes
me.
"It wasn't me" is just enough.
All right. So thank you guys for listening to our rapid fire questions.
Yes.
Moving back into rediscovering who I am beyond being a wife and a mom, I started with Psalms 139 because I think you guys are wondering, and even I sometimes wonder, how do I know that it's like we're being called to rediscover something else? We
Yeah.
talked about like phases. Sometimes we're in the phase of motherhood and wifehood, and that's all we want to be. And that is fine. But also, I believe both of us feel like in this season, we're being called to do
To
something
do.
else. And
Yeah.
as we rediscover that, as we explore that with She Said She Prayed, as we explore that with other projects that we have, with giving our kids some space and things like that, it is, I guess, a conversation of how do we know that's even the time or the space that we're in.
Yeah.
So I put out Psalms 139 and it says, "You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways."
I was also in Psalms 139, but, verse 14, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." So I love how we
That's me
both
slow
are in
clapping.
Psalms. Right.
Slow
The
clap.
slow clap. And my reflection from it was God created your identity before any role you carry. And I think that we have to remember that.
Yeah.
We get so wrapped up in roles and what we are and what we're supposed to be that God's already created your identity. So whatever role you want to be in that season, God already knows. It's okay. It is okay to just, if you're in the season of motherhood, that's your identity right now. That,
Mhm.
as long as it's an identity in Christ, it it's okay.
And I think I love that is like making sure it's centered in Christ. But I also think it mentions discernment here too. I'm trying to find the verse because when I read it, I was like, oh,
Me too.
Psalms 139, 1 and 3. You discern my going and my lying down. It's like the Lord discerns my going and my lying down.
Yeah.
So I think in praying and also using discernment because
Yeah.
we are made in his image, so we have access to that, using discernment in deciding, because we were talking about how do we know this is the time. Oh, I don't know if this is the time.
You
I
won't.
am hoping, and I think on one of our test runs we talked about 51%. I always go back to Mike Todd has a Crazy Faith series. He's like a mega pastor and feel how you want about that. But I love his Crazy Faith series. It is so transformational at how we look at faith. And he talks about, I think it's a maybe faith
Okay.
is the title of that one. And he talks about how even the people who you think are closest to God
Yeah.
on a scale of like negative and God.
Right.
Like we are getting by with 51% of faith. It's like if the options are 50-50, is this God? Is it not? When we are saying God told me this, it's usually 51%.
It's
It's 49%,
That's
I'm not
good.
sure.
Yeah.
And it's 51%.
That's good.
I think God is telling me this.
Yes.
I think God is asking me to be open to other roles, to be open to other
Being
spaces. So I think in praying and using discernment in if you seek God, he will open doors. He will let you know. The same like we were saying what she said she prayed, where we're like, I'm not sure. I think God is telling us to do this. I'm not sure. Lord, we don't have time. And then God opened our schedules.
Yeah.
Lord, I'm not sure. And God opened our schedules, but we're not busy.
It wasn't easy to get to this point, but it was possible. God made a way. Um, and I love how, you mentioned the things that you go to God with. God, open our schedule, this and that. Also, I think that we need to, because sometimes we talked about guilt, like mommy guilt.
Mm,
And also being like, all right, God, can you remove that feeling from me?
yeah.
Like, if this is you, why do I feel like this? I'm struggling with guilt right now,
Yeah.
Lord Jesus. I'm struggling. Can you give me some peace when it comes to that? Because I know you called me to this project. I know you called me to this church plant, but I miss my babies. Can you give me some peace with that?
I completely agree. And I want to add to that is also in doing that, I think for me, it's remembering that God is God. Because I think part of that guilt for me, um, maybe for you,
Yeah,
maybe for you,
sure.
not really leaning on God. Because part of the guilt about not doing this as a mom, not doing that as a mom, is me feeling like I need to do everything.
Control it all. Yeah.
And
God is
truly, if
God.
I really let go and let God, my
Yeah.
baby's not gonna miss out on anything.
Right.
The things that I feel like I'm in that space to provide, God will make sure they get it.
Yeah. Good
Go.
addition to that. It is letting go. And that comes with asking God. Like, I feel like those questions, when you ask God to remove that, God's gonna be like, I'm God. Like,
The
I put you,
answer
the answer is there. But being comfortable with doing that, because we mentioned earlier, we sometimes be like, oh, that didn't work out, or that's not going as smooth as we want to. It's not God.
right. If it's hard, then it's not
If
God.
it's hard, then it's not
Yeah.
God.
And
And
that's not true.
that's not true.
Sometimes things are just hard. Like some seasons are hard,
It is.
and that's okay. I think it's again back to discernment, back to prayer, back to the muscle
Mhm.
of I think I've talked about before that we were talking about 51%, and I said I am one of those people who I do think a lot more often than not I'm at 60% and not 51%.
Yeah.
And I only think that because I have practiced the muscle building of trusting God
Yeah.
and then seeing what happens. And then I've trusted God and it's gone the way God told me it was going to go. So
It
then
is.
it's like,
It,
oh, you're building the muscle, you're stronger. So
yeah.
when you get there, you can hear him clearer the next
The
time.
next time. Yeah, where I'm at with it, mine varies. Like,
Yeah.
it's not there are situations where I'm
Yeah.
51% and there's situations where I'm 39%. Mine definitely varies, which is something that just means sometimes my faith is shaken sometimes, where
Yeah.
I have to remind myself, like, God is God.
To clarify, just because I don't want anybody to think to clarify, I'm 60% 1% of the time. Let's say 1 out of 10,
Yeah,
there is 1% of the 10 where I'm 60%.
yeah,
There is 9% out of the 10 where I am 51%. Or 9 out of 10, I'm 51%. 1 out of 10, I'm 60%. And if I'm gonna be honest, that 9 out of 10 number, and sometimes I'm down there with you at
yeah.
39%.
It
So
it looks different with every situation. I think the main takeaway from that is that you're seeking it, because, like you mentioned before, like, when you get through that situation and God opened that door, or answered, it's building your faith, because you're like, you couldn't see,
mhm.
how did that even happen? God is God. It can only be God.
Yep.
And so from there, that's when you become more in your faith. Like, I know that it's not possible without God, but because we are human and we crave our wants and not necessarily what God wants from us.
I want to ask, I'm
Huh.
curious, what is something besides your story, because we talked about that, a role that you think that you're not even at 51% right now, but you're like, God, maybe.
Maybe. Ooh. That's a good one.
And then how are we seeking God for that?
She said she prayed the podcast in general, the putting myself out there.
Mhm.
I am putting myself out there, and there are days I know I'm supposed to be doing it, but I'm like, "This is so uncomfortable," that I'm really opening the
It's in the, like,
door for
why
that
phase.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, "Why?" Also, "Why, God, you know my personality. Why, God, you know how I am. Why?"
Yeah,
But God is telling me, "Because it's time."
yeah.
I'm trusting God's timing. I know that God's timing is the perfect timing, even if I don't understand it.
Mhm,
But there are days where, you mentioned before we started, you were like, wait, am I really supposed to be doing that?
mhm.
Mine is putting myself out there
Yeah.
in general. But God's like, I gave you that testimony. I gave you something to say. I gave you
Mhm.
that for a reason. And I'm like, I trust that. I trust that I am here for a reason and that the reason is for myself and
Yeah.
also for others. And that's what God called me to do. What about you?
I gave you that testimony, I gave you something to say, and it leads into mine, which is similar in the sense that, not it has nothing to do with she said she prayed, but it is I have been if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, my personal Instagram is I am Diamond Janae, and I have been since January 1st posting on Instagram every single day.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as I have said before, and Candy corrects me, I am very self-conscious about it because I don't feel like I'm good at it.
I don't, she's
And
good at it, but
but
I get,
it is very uncomfortable for me.
yes. Mhm.
This is not as uncomfortable for me because I have, like, a friend here. It's not fully alone, and it doesn't feel like I have to carry that, and this is probably the prayer in this as I say it out loud because I'm trying to carry it by myself. I think the posting on Instagram, the showing up, I did it because I felt like the Lord was telling me to show up.
Yeah.
It made me think about a friend of mine had mentioned when I was telling her about it. She's like, "Yes, you gotta do it. Go for it." And she's like, "God probably told you to do it because you have something to say." And I don't even necessarily know what that something is, but in that, it is scary and it's uncomfortable. I'm like,
I commend you
I don't
for
know.
trusting God. You're trusting God because I will say going back to the fast, that was what she was speaking of too. She was like, God is telling me I need to post every day. So that's your walking testimony. That's an inspiration to someone that's like,
You
even though it
make
feels
the post. Yeah.
uncomfortable, make the post. But I want to ask you guys, what are y'all trusting God for in your lives right now? Like, what is uncomfortable with you? Where are you with the trust? We talk about 51%. Where are you? What does that look like
For you.
what does that look like for you? So
I
we want to know.
also, sorry, I
That's
would
good.
also love for you guys to tell us what roles you are struggling with or wrestling to accept.
Yeah.
Like, is there a role that you're wrestling to accept? Is there a role that you're wrestling with if you're supposed to accept it? Because Candy and I would honestly and truly love to pray for you. So even if you don't see us praying, just know that we really are praying for everyone who's watching. We've been praying since the idea was conceived. And it's
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
Lord, let these conversations, anything that is supposed to be had or said, reach who it's supposed to reach.
Also, something to think about is what parts of yourself do you want to connect with? So, if you are in a season when we talked about there are certain things that disappeared because of our roles,
Mm,
looking at that, what are some of those things that you want to reconnect with? Like
yeah.
I mentioned, I felt like in the season, my motivation kind of went downhill. That was something that I'm working on reconnecting with.
As you say that, I instantly
What's that?
thought so it wasn't necessarily posting that was my thing, it was showing up. I took that as posting every day, and it's reminded me that I've been telling a couple friends recently or the last, like, 6 months that a part of me before I was hurt and before I started questioning, like, myself and my identity and things like that was really confident.
Mm, yeah.
And I feel like I lost that. And
Wow.
part of it was that and also motherhood, I think your body changes, your
Ev
emotions
ye
change, like all these things. And I feel like I've lost a lot of confidence that
That's
I had.
wow.
And as you're saying that, literally, I'm like, maybe that's why God's calling me to show up to help me
Recon
rebuild.
I think that you talk about the changes that we go through as mothers, but in general, getting older, all of those
Mhm.
things, it would be really good if you're like, "Well, I didn't lose any type of confidence.
So listen.
That teach me your ways." But over here, there are things and so that's huge. And you're
Wow.
showing up though. You're
Yeah.
showing up. So
Listen, y'all, we are
commenting on
walking
that.
this out together, as you can see
Yeah.
in this what is it? Epiphany moment. We are really walking this out together, and we are just dissecting life and processing. So thank you so much for
Thank you,
watching. She
guys.
Said She
Thank
Prayed.
you.
Come back for another episode. Let's talk. Let's try to process and put words and language to some of the feelings, the emotions, and the things that are going on in our life.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, all the social media platforms we are on, and anywhere that you can watch podcasts. Check out She Said She Prayed. Leave comments, like, subscribe, share so that you know when new episodes are coming, and so that you can also help another mom, another wife who is struggling and wrestling with these ideas. We'll see you guys
That's
next
the
time.
goal.